Today, we are going to be giving you context on our biggest mistakes in filmmaking and what you can learn from it. I'm Weston. I own a film production company and I'm a director for films and commercials.
I'm Jason and I'm an assistant filmmaker.
Assistant director.
Assistant director.
But you do assist a lot in filmmaking.
All right, so our first question of the day is from Savina, and she asks, I can't imagine myself charging large amounts for a video. When you charge $25,000 for a video, are you ever afraid that you will fail?
With production, there's always fear involved. I've heard, some of the masters talking in bonus features, and Ridley Scott or Christopher Nolan, they talk about fear that they have coming up to it. There's always going to be fear associated with art. Answer to this question specifically, the goal for me as a director is how can I take all those micro steps in the film production process to eliminate that fear, to turn it from fear into knowledge that we are going to be successful. In the projects that we've done where we're charging $25,000 or more, I've never felt fear that we're going to fail, because even before we receive payment for that video, we've done all of our work as a team to figure out, do we match this client in terms of can our team provide what this client needs? Two, before we accept any payments up front, we go through 2 rounds of brainstorming and audience research. And so we figure out who their audience is. And through that process, we figure out how we're going to approach a video. That because we know the audience so well, we know how to approach that audience so well, it's almost a guarantee that as long as we stay focused on that audience, the client's going to get their money back and then some. Probably the biggest failure that we had
was not charging enough.
That was one, yes.
That's the biggest one, because when you don't charge enough, you get really picky clients. They're not sure what they want the video to be, and that makes it so you're not sure, and they see that you're not sure, and therefore they now want to micromanage everything. And it's just like,
yeah. People who are always concerned about money will always be micromanaging. Another thing for us was, like you said, not charging enough. In this case, it was, we had a really good client that we were working with, but they had wanted 4 videos done a month. And so we were charging them $3,000 a video. And it was like, $12,000 a month? Wow. Like we're in business. Yeah. But then when we went back and actually kept track of the hours, at this time, we didn't keep very good track of hours and apply hours to costs. But as we went back retroactively to look at it, it was costing us $5,000 to $6,000 per video in labor. Yeah. And so
it was expensive.
So we're paying, basically $3,000 for every $3,000 we earn. So it's like, okay, well, this is a horrible deal. So that one had nothing to do with the client. It just was us. We hadn't properly priced stuff. And it's like, if you undercharge stuff, you risk upsetting your client. A client won't get upset if you charge too much, but the project comes out perfect. Client will get upset if you charge some money and then the thing just completely falls apart.
If we didn't have the system in place and everything organized the way it does, and the team that we have to keep us motivated, then I get frozen in all the details of all the things that went wrong and all the things that I can see, which are things that majority of the time the client will never see.
Along with that, to complement what Jason said, the team, having individuals like Jason as our assistant director, or Drew as our director of photography, Jamie as our art director, our 2 writers, Andrew and Jacob, and the list goes on with our composers and our sound guys and our on set sound guys, and everybody in the team. That to me is a big part of when we get projects that stretch our abilities a little bit. I know that over the past 10 years, we've curated this team of individuals that won't let me down as a director when push comes to shove.
It's all about the system, of relying on the system. There's been times where I was afraid I was going to fail, right? And when I'm in those moments, it's all about letting go of the fear and focusing on the system.
It's all about those micro steps. Whenever I approach a project, it's okay, what's the next little micro step I can take to figure out how to solve this problem? Because every project is just one ginormous problem. And so it's like, how do we solve this problem? So for me, a big part is getting the script down, that audience research that we talked about, getting the script down, seeing how it works with the audience, maybe reading that script to a few individuals that pertain to that actual audience, getting some of their feedback. For me personally, a huge thing is what we call shot blocking or pre-visualization, of being able to just grab a camera and grab some of the team members and we just go shoot what we're going to film. But we're just shooting on our phones or on like the A7S or, just whatever quick camera we can grab. And we start figuring out, okay, how do these shots work? Do they work? What's going to be difficult about that? And a lot of times the things that I was most worried about, I realize aren't the problem. And then actually something else is like, oh, here's the elephant in the room.
Lighting?
Yeah, it's like, how are we going to light
this one?
Like the camera movement's so much easier than I thought it would be, but how are we going to light this?
And what's great about shot blocking too is you make all the mistakes in that stage. Make notes of it on the script and on the shot list. So this is what we need for this shot. This is all the gear. This is the angles that we need. And you figure all that out because of the shot blocking.
There's videos already on the channel from our vlog about shot blocking. Every time I tell people about it, I always get the funniest reaction of like, oh yeah, I'll do that someday. People see it as a suggestion, but they don't realize until you've failed that it's like, oh man, I could have just shot this beforehand and figured out beforehand, instead of having to fix these mistakes on set when your client's waiting and your actors are, times are accruing and you're burning daylight. The other failure I'd say is clients walking away without paying us the back end. That was definitely more early on. And for us, we learned that you use the asset that the individuals want as the collateral. We always collect a percentage up front. For us, we collect how much we need in labor to get the whole project done. So for us, we charge 70% up front, meaning that if the client walks away and doesn't pay the back end portion, everybody on the team is taken care of. Our company doesn't make profit, but
the company barely breaks even, but everyone's paid for it.
And so it's not a loss, but it's not a gain.
Yeah.
But then the second part is every time we send a video to a client, we put a watermark on it. We put it on a site to where they cannot have download access to it. And just like all these levels of protection to where they don't ever get a physical copy or a downloadable copy of the project that they can just run off with. And most of the time, we actually don't send our clients a color-corrected version until very late in the game. We go through various revision processes.
So it always looks a little gray throughout the whole process.
So we'll send it to them and be like, hey, here's the first edit, looking for your thoughts. Boom. Here's the next edit, looking for your thoughts. One, that keeps us from wasting time, helping us be set up for success.
Communicating quickly.
But then two, it also keeps it to where, they can download our footage in S-Log if they want, but it just
doesn't look good. And it's not going to help them anyway.
So it's like trying to keep control of that. And then when we come to the finish and the client's like, great, I love it. Send me the download link. It's like, awesome. So glad you love it. That's great to hear. Here's the invoice. Once this invoice is paid, once this invoice is paid and clears the bank, we will send you the download link.
That's right. And it's beneficial for them because why would we hang on to it after they pay us? We did all the work. And
we're not going to steal it.
We want to be able to show it off too. And by giving it to them and having it be a commercial on TV or on YouTube, we can say, oh, we did that, you know? So it's beneficial for everyone.
And what's nice is, at least for us, that's always communicated beforehand. The client knows that they won't receive the product until the final payment. That's already clarified. We don't do any net 30 or net 60 payment stuff. I think that stuff, in my opinion, stupid, but we haven't worked with those type of clients who do that type of stuff where it's like, hey, after you're done with the project, you'll see your money in 60 days. So for us, it kind of puts a little pressure on the client to where if the client really wants to get it going, they'll make sure that payment is ready to go as soon as possible. And it just kind of, in a way, improves the relationship because we're responsible to them and they're responsible to us.
That's right. So we covered three things that in our biggest failures back in the day, it was because we didn't price enough, we didn't communicate well enough, and we didn't pick our clients properly. So it's all about, that's one that I think we didn't quite go into. It's knowing our clients well enough to say yes and knowing them well enough to say no. It's like we're saying no because we don't quite match you and you don't match us, type of thing.
Yeah. And there was another question about like, how do you find good clients? And so we'll cover that in another questions and context video. But yeah, for now, I would say those are our biggest failures in filmmaking and what we've learned from it, and hopefully you guys can learn from it.
Yeah.
You guys have questions that you would like to get some context on from our experience in the film production, go ahead and head on over to context.comv.org and submit your questions. That's probably the easiest way for us to be able to get the questions and get responses to you quickly. You can also throw it in the comments down below, but sometimes things get missed or sometimes it's hard to keep track of. But we look forward to hearing from you. We look forward to being able to provide some more context from our experience to your guys' questions.
Yeah, and if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up.
And subscribe if you want more of it.
That's
See
right.
ya.
Cheers.